to Park the Bus. It's a football podcast. It talks everything Scottish football from up and down the country. Just joined by Mr. Andy Dixon this evening. Kieran Hunter will be along shortly, but as always, me, the gaffer, I will host, and I have one co-host for the time being. Been a busy week again, Andy. Plenty of action in the West, East, Lowland, Highland, and obviously throughout the SPFL. League Cup final as well took place over the weekend, and there's been plenty of dismissals along the way. So how are you doing?
Good, mate. I'm not bad at all. Hearts didn't play this weekend, so it was quite weird, although we did go to the Hearts women's game.
Yeah.
I took the kids along to that, and by the time this goes out, there will be a vlog on that as well, and my two kids will be in that as well. They're actually sitting waiting to watch this as it goes up on YouTube, so get yourselves along to that. Remember, hit like and subscribe as well for our YouTube channel. Okay, went to PENICUIK. We'll talk about that in a wee while.
Yep, definitely.
Aye, it's
That was the. We're also going to talk about it, but we may as well just start with the women's game now. How was it? How was the experience? Big derby, obviously.
Big derby.
Castle Park. So
yeah, it was a typical derby game, mate. To be honest, it was a game of football. Might have broke out in it at some point, but again, it was a lot of blood, thunder. Both teams probably even, to be honest. There wasn't much in it for both. Hibs team looks a wee bit, when you see the vlog, is that they do look a bit more streetwise. They look a wee bit more physical. They've probably got that more experience. The Hearts team are still a bit younger, and they're trying to play that. They've obviously sticking to this philosophy that they're trying to play. Again, it was a good game. To be honest, pretty much like the early one, it was a tight game. There wasn't much else to that, but I mean, the atmosphere was okay. It was 7,500, which is good. Bear in mind,
that's pretty cracking, eh?
It is. I mean, there was 11 to 12,000 tickets being given away, but I think when you see everything that was on alongside it, you had the two League Cup finals and the rugby as well, and the tickets were free, so people were taking the tickets and maybe not going. But again, the club would have got the same as the first game. Because Bailey Gifford sponsored it, they obviously pay for each ticket, so they would have got paid for that regardless. But I always think that, and I didn't say it in the vlog, but women's football, it seems to be more of a family atmosphere, if you understand what I mean by that. So there's more young children, especially obviously girls, as you'd expect. There was a bit more mixed, like there wasn't as much segregation as such. I mean, Hibs did have the rose bun, but there was green and white scarves all through the other three stands as well. So again, nothing was really said because of that. Because again, it's different. It's different. Yeah, I think that's what it is, and it's different, and it's good. I mean, Violet enjoyed herself. Harrison was booing everything that Hibs were doing. So don't know where he gets that from. But no, it was good, and as I say, see my experience, see our experience on our YouTube as well. So yeah, that was my Sunday. My Saturday was off to PENICUIK. What I would say is that we actually recorded last week. We sat and recorded about an hour on the.
No. Keep ramping up a bit. It's about an hour and a half.
But the worst bit is that by the time Saturday afternoon came, it became actually irrelevant.
It did, I was a lot to take in when it was a lot of editing to do.
It was a lot of editing, just with some of the results and things that had happened and.
Yeah, 100%.
It came to the point and you're thinking, well, we might as well just scrap that and we'll just talk about it tonight as well.
It was a good idea in hindsight if it wasn't as long. But yeah, we'll go into it very, very shortly. I mean, the results are crazy. I mean,
that's what I mean. We recorded all that stuff. It was to go out on the Saturday, and by the time Saturday came, it was one of these things. Is like we might as well just scrap that and just we'll go with that. So we'll start from here.
And it is also, we have a partnership with a very, very trending fashion brand, Starner. I mean, again, UK based, Swedish soul. Starner is an independent fashion brand. It's from Scotland. They create high quality and stylish attire for on and off the terraces. Inspired by the terrace culture, lifestyle, and music, all of the clothing is designed using quality materials and workmanship to combine the very best style and fit for yourself. And all this means you get premium quality fashion for affordable prices while enjoying a simple and secure service. Get yourself along. www.starnerapparel.co.uk. Links will be below, either below me or below Andy. And basically, if you're watching on YouTube, you will see also a code, a promo code. Promo code gives you 10% off, and that basically is for on the Starner website. Type in promo code Part the Bus Pod, all one word, and that will give you the 10% off that you need to buy from Starner. So any listeners, give it a bash, give them a wee follow and a like on their other socials, and maybe get yourself a wee hat or a jacket or a t-shirt, but whatever tickles your fancy.
If you're listening to audio form as well, I'll pop it in the show notes.
Yes, 100%. But yeah, it's been great. So Starner, thank you very much, and more to come from this, as we say. Let's crack on, Andy. Let's get into a couple of big news headlines that happened over the weekend, as well as maybe a couple of hours ago. And we'll just start off with Dundee United Football Club in general. I mean, toiling at the bottom of the Premiership table. Again, another club that should be sitting at least top six for the club and the budget and the fan base. But again, they see themselves down at the very bottom.
Yeah.
So, where are we going to go start with first? Do you want to start with the news today, or do you want to start with the news at the weekend?
Let's start Saturday. Let's start with the absolute thumping that they took at Ross County.
Malcolm Mackay's Ross County, yeah, 4-0. 4-0 winners up in Dingwall. I mean, to be honest with you, a team that's struggling as well. I salute every Dundee United fan that went up there. It was a good away support behind that goal. You can see in certain other games that there's not many away support, like Livingston, even the likes of bigger clubs as well, if they're not playing well. Even Hibs have not brought that many sometimes because of certain ways they're playing. So, to me, I salute them. Well done. But again, they must be thinking the worst when it's 2-0 down after at least, 20-odd minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's one of these is that you got there, you're desperate for a result. Everything isn't working. And from what I've heard and what I've read is that it was probably a worse performance in the Celtic 9-0 game. That's how badly that they were playing. I mean, they swapped Berigay got injured with a shoulder injury after that calamitous thing against St Johnstone, and then they put the young goalkeeper in, and it's just went tits up for him too.
Yeah.
So obviously, I said last week on the pod is that Dundee United don't really want to sack another manager.
They don't,
but they did.
And they went and sacked Leon Fox, Livingston assistant manager to Martindale before he made the trip to Tannadice to be the assistant of Tom Courts. I mean, again, another manager that maybe left just a wee bit too soon. Was making things happen, but again, does he know something that we don't know behind the scenes?
Well, is it one of these things where it's a case of that has he got the personality to deal with the egos in that changing room? Because there's big egos in there. You take Tony Watt, he'd be one. He's went out on loan.
Yeah.
Stephen Fletcher, this guy will have an ego. The career he's had and everything else.
Yeah.
Quite rightly so, as I mentioned. Charlie Mulgrew for everything that he's done in the game. So there's three big egos right there.
I think the guys from Australia as well. I think
maybe
the goalie Berigay, fuck, I can't even say it. And who's the left back again? I can't remember his name. It's annoying me. I know it's similar to also the goalie. So.
But it's no Bacchus is St Mirren, isn't it?
No, that's St Mirren, that's the striker. I'll get to it now. But yeah, basically, these kind of guys that have been and done it. Yeah, Dundee is a big club, but again, you said the biggest problem they've got is dealing with certain individuals. And if they don't agree with the way you're playing, they'll voice their concern. They will have a voice.
I don't think he's had the personality of being able to deal with that. I mean, Tam Coates has had to deal with most of that some of that last year. He's obviously had a lot of that dressing room last year. He's dealt with it.
Yep.
And I don't think, to be fair, I think Jack Ross might have been able to deal with it, but it just didn't work out for him at all.
It didn't. But at the same time with Jack Ross, I mean, we were talking about him last week.
Yep.
And basically, I think he's been hard done by.
I think so.
If you look at the bigger picture here, they were never going to succeed in Europe that well. They got a thumping, the Celtic results, other results that went along the way. It happens in football, and I think that Dundee United had such a good season last year. It was very hard to top that, and unfortunately it's just went the other way. Lost a manager, lost a couple of players, got some really good names in the door. Craig Sibbald, also Mulgrew signed another deal. The likes of a goalie, Seagrass, he left, trying to get another replacement for him. Then you've also got Stephen Fletcher comes up front, and I generally feel that Levick signing as well was such a massive part of last season, and even he's went under the radar this year a bit, you know, because of maybe how poor it is or how poor he is. It just depends how you look at it.
Yeah, it could be the World Cup, a bit of everything, isn't it? Really, it's one of these things. So they're absolutely toiling. Liam Fox, a boy that's got sent back for Cowdenbeath for being crap.
Yeah, I mean, I think he got lucky, right? Let's put it this way, right? For my opinion, for obviously when he was at Livingston, I thought, right, he's going to be assistant for a wee while here, you know.
Yeah.
Bartley's a coach, he's assistant, Martindale manager. Everything's ticking away. We're playing really well. You'll know that from last year. Everything's great, and he decided to leave, and it took a bit of a backing because when you look at it in different ways, it looks like he took it because it's a bigger club mentality, it's a bigger decision, it's a bigger option.
Yeah,
and he done really well with Courts, but again, he left. Does that mean that Jack Ross had to keep the backing staff? Don't know. You need to find out with that. He's the only person to ask because that's him himself.
the thing is, he's worked with Liam Fox, though. So him and Liam Fox worked at Hearts together.
He did. I know that, but if you look at it for the season that's just passed, it's probably the best option.
Yeah,
He just expected to be the best thing.
Well, Potter went and took his own job. He went to the.
That's right. He went to also Kelty.
Kelty. So
Yep.
yes, if you're looking for a new assistant, you take somebody you've worked with before, someone you're used to. You've worked with him closely at Hearts for over the years. So I would say that it certainly was. But obviously, moving forward, the fans were demanding a change, not just in the manager job, and obviously that's vacant. And as of about an hour and a half ago, the director of football, sporting director, I think his title is, Tony Asghar, has gone as well.
The man for the job.
Yes, absolutely. He was the owner's man. It was his man, and he's away.
It's interesting you say that. It's one of them ones. It's weird because you read all the stuff in the AGM. You're thinking, is this guy really deluded? Is there something really deluded about Dundee United in general? And it just proves the point that Craig Levein could be in the door here.
Well, this is the next thing I was going to say is that are they just clearing the decks for Craig Levein? Now, the whole Dundee United thing is very reminiscent of us a few years ago where everything just is turning to shit. Like, everything is turning to shit from the top to the bottom, regardless of the players that you've got in, the ones that you think are going to make a difference, the ones that have reputations, the ones who like, oh, he'll definitely be good enough. We've definitely got a good enough team, and it just doesn't work. And now this is what's happening. And now they're clearing the decks, and the rumour is that Craig Levein's coming in. And Craig Levein's coming in, and he's got this reputation that nobody really wants to work with him. We had managers not want to work with him when he was our sporting director. So is it a case that Asghar's went, well, if this is here wanting in, I don't want to work with him. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. Kieran Hunter, you've joined this conversation halfway through. We're talking about Dundee United.
Bit of a favourite subject of mine at the moment.
Yeah. So you've obviously been listening in. So we're just talking about obviously Asghar's away. Craig Levein could be the one that's coming in. He's heavily linked.
It's a backward step, in my opinion. Levein's been involved at Tannadice before. He's the thing is, who do United get? It's one of these ones where they're looking at their options, and I think they've taken the easy one and they've went, Levein, you fancy coming back?
Yeah.
I think Levein has got contacts. The guy's got a reputation in Scottish football, but for me, if you talk about progress and United moving forward, this is a huge backward step at a time where they're sitting at the foot of the table, and as you said, everything's collapsing on its arse. They just need to grind out the rest of the season, get to the summer, and just have a mass clean out of the club, from the team right up to the board of directors, because it's just a mess. And the thing is, this whole 3-year period in the Championship, and then in that third season when they were boosted up due to the crazy decisions with the league stopping and stuff like that, it's caught up with them. So yeah, it's just a disaster.
So a wee bit on the also Craig Levein, if he does come back, he also had the job for quite a while at Dundee United and probably done quite well with them at that time in the SPL. 2006, 2009, he did leave, obviously, then to go on his abysmal Scotland team run for the national team. There is a certain player that plays up front for Dundee United at the moment, and there was a big, massive talking point about him in about 2012, if I'm right?
Before that,
Just before it.
basically, Stephen
I will
Flynn.
not play for him again.
Yeah, and that's going to imagine that. And the thing is, if you're talking about egos, Craig Levein's got the biggest ego in the world, and he built a lot of that Dundee United, the way that Dundee United came through. He built that youth system. He built everything up for them, and then before he left, but at the same time, is he done? Managers do have shelf lives.
Mm-hmm. They do. I think it's quite funny. Like you see in the sports scene every weekend, or even Sports Sound for that matter as well in the BBC, and it's Michael Stewart always has that dig. They talk about Hearts recruitment. He always mentions Craig Levein. He mentions also the way they play. He mentions Craig Levein. He mentions how the club was in a mess. He mentions Craig Levein. And imagine he gets Dundee United job. Sports Sound will be the fucking place to listen. Honestly,
I think Andy's actually hit the nail on the head, to be honest, because Craig Levein, you know what? He's not a bad manager. He's not a bad name to have at the club. However, his ego is the thing that Levein is well known for when he's been involved in football. And the thing is, you look at the team that's there already. It's already full of big egos. Hence why they are in the league. That's again, it's full of big hotheads, and that's the problem.
Give Craig Levein credit, because I think it seems that we're having pops up here. I think he's also been the one that's he's turned it around at Brecon. So he's the one that's mentoring Andy Kirk. He's the director there. So I could see the point if he was maybe a sporting director where he's not manager, because once he became the Hearts manager, it all just turned to absolute fucking shit. So I think that if he was to come in and be a sporting director, maybe, but I don't think as a manager. I mean, I've got a list of the odds according to McBookie. It's the first 8 names here. So Craig Levein's 45. Neil Lennon's 31. Charlie Mulgrew 71. Stevie Crawford 8-1. John Hughes 10-1. Jim Goodwin 12-1. Tam Courts 12-1. And David Martindale 16-1. So bear in mind that when it comes to managers' odds, it's who's getting bets we're in there. So if we were to go and bet for John Hughes suddenly at 10-1, his odds would slash because people are loving it. So it's sort of dependent. But on that list, there's no names you could say that's going to change it as such. Maybe so Neil Lennon. How good a manager is Neil Lennon?
If you were a Dundee United, I'll start this off. If I was a Dundee United fan and I had that list sitting in front of me, 2 names: Lennon, character. We all know what he's got. I would quite like him to be at Allardyce. I feel like he would do enough to keep United up. Another one, just off the back of obviously his horrendous end to Aberdeen, but do you know what? I think Jim Goodwin deserves a chance, and I think what worse can the guy really do? You know what I mean? It gets, and the thing is, I think for Jim Goodwin, it would probably be best because there's no way back for United at the moment unless they do get someone in. And Jim Goodwin, it might be best for him to start off with United in the Championship, like what Nielsen was like when Nielsen went to United when they were in the Championship. That's how Nielsen essentially resurrected his career, basically in Scotland.
What do you think more on, obviously, Ascar? Do you think it's a case of, talked about Levein, how I said it at the beginning. Do you think they're going to go away from the sporting director role at the moment and just get a new manager in?
No. I think they'll be going for both. Problem is that you probably want your sporting director in place first before you want to put your manager in.
Yeah.
Because then it's your sporting director's your man. He hits the right man. So unless you again. I keep coming back to it. It's the whole Craig Levein thing. Is that surely they're not going to go down that road that Hearts went down?
Hope no.
Well, then the but I would also say that you've got the factors is that there's also another job in the SPFL that's open, and when the SPFL is open, is at a bigger club. They're a club that's doing this is they might have not been doing as well recently, but they are doing better than Dundee United. So we're going to say Neil Lennon because he's 31. He's been linked with both. If you're Neil Lennon and you've got the choice of jobs, then who are you picking? You're going to pick Dundee. You're going to pick Aberdeen, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so.
It's one of these things is that, and you go through that list as well. Like, I mean, David Martindale, he's going to be linked to everything. This is the kind of job David Martindale would take as such because he'd be able to do everything. Start at the top from sporting director. I don't think he's going to leave. I think he's very settled at Livingston, but this is more the kind of job they would take compared to Aberdeen.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know, that list doesn't scream there's an obvious candidate. And it's quite scary if you got to the point where Craig Levein is your obvious candidate.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. It makes you wonder. So, out of everybody that's been linked with the job, Craig Levein, probably obviously Goodwin's linked with the job. There's a couple as well that's actually came about, and Malky Mackay's even linked to the job. I don't know why you'd leave a club that's just pumped you 4-0, but anyway.
I think if he goes anywhere else that isn't Ross County to a bigger club, it's just going to pour all that shit out again, isn't it? Now,
it is, and it's the same thing. We'll not go try and go into it, but it's the same thing about certain other player that keeps going about the certain leagues. So it's the same thing. It's been fine for many years. He's at a smaller club. Everyone's okay. Makes a big move. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, move on from that one. Quite happy with that.
Yeah.
Other sacking. Go to the lower leagues. Andy Dixon, take it away, you big hunky shite.
So, yes, it would seem after shite result, after the odd more shite result, is that PENICUIK have, because that's how it's been recently, PENICUIK have relieved Steve McLeish of the managerial duties, or she resigned, I should say, on Saturday night.
Yep.
So, there we are. This is the thing now. So, McLeish obviously came in at this mid-season last year. We were top of the league. We drew probably more games than we should have drew, and if we hadn't, we'd have been champions.
Yep.
We would have played Darvel in that playoff. Maybe even went up into the Lowland League because it was Darrell Meggett's stag do. So you never know. But then since then, Nicky Reid left, Aidan Walsh has left. There's been other players, Kieran Watson's left. There's been a few more that have left, and they've just not been recruited correctly. Stevie Walsh has used contacts that he's had to players that he's had before that just haven't probably been good enough. We look okay in places. We look really, really, really toothless in midfield. Not midfield, up front, sorry. And basically what's happening is that we can get the ball 20 yards for goal and we just look like we haven't had a plan. There's a couple of the strikers maybe could do something if they had maybe somebody alongside them, maybe a wee bit here or there. We don't have that quality at the moment. It has been down to pure recruitment. I've probably been given a wee bit more, cutting a wee bit more slack than some people, I would say. Reading Pie and Bovril, speaking to people that are other PENICUIK fans as well. So I would say that it's probably the right time. We're not going to play for anything else this season. We're not going to win anything. We're not going to challenge for the league.
No.
Get somebody in now. Let them with a winning mentality. Someone that's going to get the right recruitment for next season and then just have a go next year and see who we're up against. So yeah, I would say that. I mean, Kieran was at the game on Saturday. He'll be able to confirm just how poorly they were at times.
Yeah, I think I'd pretty much said it to you, Andy. It's just like reading a book when you assess. Obviously, PENICUIK were fighting for the league title last season, and now they're a bang average mid-table team. I've seen Blackburn United 3 times this year, and all 3 times I've been quite impressed with them. But still, as the league reads, they are up for a relegation battle, and they were only sitting 3 points off a relegation zone as well in the top division. So again, PENICUIK, it was straight off from the start of the game when Blackburn obviously scored, but PENICUIK just had most of the ball, but they were so shy in getting into the final third, and it was like the players didn't really know. And usually in football, when a player gets into the final third, it's usually up to the striker. As a manager can only really do so much with the team, from the defence to the midfield, and then up front, it's up to the strikers to do the final job. And quite obviously the players don't have the confidence to do that. And I think that's obviously, you could see from that game there, that's where PENICUIK fell short, which is, and Blackburn obviously just had 2 chances the whole second half and took them. And
That's
was
the
it.
thing. They've done that against a couple of teams the last few years. They just take their chances, defend really well. Other teams can't take their chance. It's up to the other team to obviously PENICUIK's chance to obviously beat a team that's sitting bottom near, well, not bottom of the table, but near the bottom of the table. And I think PENICUIK's going into that way, though.
And I think the thing is as well is that given the shape of the league this season, it's only going to continuously get even tougher, because if teams are getting fed through, we'll see what obviously happens if your league champions are going to get promoted straight away. But it's going to get significantly tougher, because if rows are going up, and it's going to give more clubs that incentive to start building, putting in a structure, getting in youth teams. You're already seeing that. Even clubs that are way down at the bottom of the east of Scotland, where Hart Hill are recruiting youth academies, Camelin have done it. So I mean, if they're going to do it, then imagine what's going to be like in the top of the league. PENICUIK have had their chance, and now they need to get someone in that's going to turn the club around and go for the top of the league again.
Yeah. Andy, what else do you want to say about this last wee bit on the manager and PENICUIK in general?
I would say that obviously just touching on Saturday's game there. I mean, it's hard to win games when you shoot yourself in the foot so early in the game. You're chasing the game. You get the softest penalty you've ever seen. It was soft, honestly, it was soft as shit. You then fluke a second goal, and then you just switch off, and here's obviously a great shot at goal. But funniest wee bit on Saturday was these 3 wee laddies walked up to Kieran and went, we're ultras, and then just walked away from him.
Shot it. and then when Blackburn were cruising, they came over and started talking about the Jake Paul Tom Fury fight, which was even better. But it was finished 4-2.
4-2, aye. And there was a wee bit of altercation at the end. I missed it, but Kieran was trying to hang about.
Yeah, so again, this is probably an interesting one. Camille like this. But there was quite obviously there was a wee altercation where there was a lady and a man, probably I'd say in their sort of late 40s, early 50s, and they kind of exchanged words, both PENICUIK fans, obviously to do with the club, the team, I think, in the game. And one of the coaches came over and got involved. It turns out it was actually the coach's wife who was having this altercation with the fan. And basically it kind of all sort of kicked off. And I think, to be honest, I think that pretty much just sums it up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and what I said to Andy as well is what was a shame was that there was probably a crowd of 150 there, and half of them were PENICUIK fans. It was a good travelling support. And the thing is, I was at a cup game as well. I think it was can't remember, East of Scotland qualifying cup or whatever it was, and PENICUIK beat Tranent 1-0. And again, it was a good crowd, stuff like that. Fantastic result, given the fact that Tranent were our league above, obviously. But it's just, I don't know, it's just not fair for PENICUIK at all this season, and they've not recruited well at all in the summer. No. But now, as I said, the manager's gone, and it's time for change, because that's a club that really should be so much higher up than what they are.
Yeah, I agree.
Nah, fine, that's fine. We'll leave that one there. We will come on to the East of Scotland League in just a wee moment. But again, it's a merry-go-round after such a successful campaign, or unsuccessful for some. Here we go. It's second part of the pod. Just a couple of news snippets. A very well-known manager in the divisions down south in England, Chris Wilder, visited Ainsley Park Spartans match. He was also pictured with the Man of the Match award at the end of the game, and he took into, which is a nice ground, a nice part of Edinburgh. So nice to see him coming up and experiencing some lower league football in Scotland. Other news, you want to be a stadium announcer? Kieran, sign up, big man. You've got FC Edinburgh, looking for a stadium announcer to be at Meadowbank. Anyone interested?
I have to stand a million miles away because of that fucking racetrack.
Well, it doesn't matter. You'll not be able to see your scores, eh?
Nah, I think I'll pass.
Yeah, pass. Fair enough.
I'm trying to work out what the nice bit of Edinburgh Ainsley Park's in.
Just the other side where Fetty's colleges.
Aye, okay, very good. Thinking fucking Granton and Pilton, aye, very good, aye.
Morrison's is about it,
Aye. The nice bit, the Morrisons.
Aye. So yeah, I mean, basically that's a couple of news snippets. We were going to go through. I mean, let's go for it. Let's go for the Lowland League and the Highland League. Let's start off with the latter. Let's start off with the one that we don't really know much about. It's the Highland League. Highland League's really kicked off. Obviously, Andy mentioned at the start of the podcast that we obviously spoke about this before Saturday's matches, and again, it has changed dramatically in this league over February. I mean, Strathspey Spissel look down and out. I mean, Gunners, cheerio, see you later. They're still the same. But Brecon again, Bucky as well are both at the top of the table. 68 points for Bucky, 66 for Brecon. And basically, Brecon still have that game in hand
And
Bucky.
do you know who Brecon played in the last game of the season?
And you told me already, go for it.
Bucky.
Correct.
Wow, last game of the season.
There's one team I wanted to mention. This one is also Fraserburgh. Fraserburgh's dropped off a cliff here, big time over the last couple of years. They have been at the top of the Highland League. The ones that's been mentioning, a bit like the Highland version of Darvel, you could say. You know, the ones that are spending the most money, doing the rounds, good Scottish Cup runs, all that kind of stuff. So, but again, this season, Bucky and Brecon are the teams to watch. Fraserburgh's results over the last last 4 or 5 games have been pretty poor, to be honest. 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss has seen them drop 3rd place and technically a really, really hard ask to them to try and get back into this title race. Bucky, on the other hand, Bucky are obviously 4 wins in a row. 4 wins in a row are the kind of results you need to be a league winner. And basically, the other team is Brecon, but Brecon have slipped up twice. 3 wins and 2 draws. The 2 draws have really had a sucker punch into Brecon's title challenge. But basically, again, February's been not a bad month for obviously that league. But again, it's weird. They both play in the Highland Cup this weekend, so another fucking game in hand that could be going for them against other teams that are below them. But again, the gap is getting that big. You think it's over and out for the teams below. But what do you think? I mean, Brecon on our way to interview your locals in this cup, and Bucky host Banks of D. Who do you think is going to get this? You know, we and Andy said we were going to say Brecon, but I tell you what, Bucky are certainly holding their own with only a few games remaining.
I think everyone's kind of maybe forgot about Bucky, but I'm certainly one of those people because Brecon was playing sailing. You're talking like what 21, 22 games they were top of the league, and then Bucky have obviously managed to pull something back. So I think it is going to really come down to that last game, and I can't really see anyone else in there with the run in and catch them. But obviously, I think Cammy's bang on the money with saying the Fraserburgh like the Darvel this league. They were obviously champions last season. They were, weren't they? Yeah, and they've kind of fell off a wee bit. But again, the Highland League's always been like it's different teams in and about this league, and it is so tough because all the teams are fairly equal. And the thing is, it's only going to get even tougher because obviously, me and Andy were saying this is that it's the fact that you look at Banks of D, like obviously if you hadn't had their point deduction, they'd be sitting in the top 5 somewhere as well. So it's pretty mental. But. Strathspey, I think, are pretty much gone. With all due respect, they were like another 4 billion and probably had to get relegated for their own benefit. So, but I think it really comes down to again though, and again we touched on this in the last podcast. Moving on, like, do they beat that other team in the Lowland League, Bucky or Brecon? I don't know.
And that's the thing is we'll come to that as well. We'll come to it depending on who it is, but. It's also do they beat the team that finishes 10th in League 2? Now, like at the moment it's Bonnig. I don't think they beat Bonnig. I don't think any of the teams beat Bonnig. So I think that because I think that it all depends. It all depends. I thought between the two of them, it depends if Craig Levein goes to Dundee United, because if he's been sporting director there, and if he leaves, and is that all change at Dundee United, all change at Brecon, behind the scenes and things like that, is he doing too much for Kirk? Will Kirk actually maybe do better that he's not there? It all depends. That could all change as well. So there's still lots to play for. The game in hand, obviously, if Brecon win that, they're a point above, but I think it is going to come down to it. I wouldn't like to pick them, but if Cammy wants, I'll change my prediction. I'll go with Bucky.
Yeah, is that just because of how the table is now, or?
No. I'll go with Bucky.
Fair enough.
Wow. I think, do you know what? I'm actually going to agree with Andy. And the reason I'm going to say Bucky is because I think Levein leaving will have quite an impact. I don't think Brecon would quite be there if it wasn't for Levein and his contacts and things like that, and given the influence that he's got in the club. So, yeah, I'm going to say Bucky are going to pull it back. They know the league a lot better than Brecon do.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Fort Martin maybe run Brecon pretty close as well.
I mean, I said that about Fraserburgh and Fort Martin. I didn't know anything for Fort Martin, but I wanted to make sure that everyone knew about Fraserburgh's drop off a cliff, because, again, the last 2 years there have been the bragging rights, and I genuinely feel that Brecon need to get out of this league. Bucky, on the other hand, and our team maybe a bit like Cove, under the radar a bit, and they're just going to come out the leagues maybe, and people won't even notice. It'll just be on our team that's sitting there in the League 2, League 1 system, which will be good to see, because if they bring stuff to the league, that's what you're wanting. That's what you're wanting. You're wanting teams like that to be in the league that provide decent players, decent enough quality football, and decent enough stadium facilities as well. That's what you're wanting. So, yeah, let's go to the Lowland League quickly. Lowland League is another one that is just crazy. 19 teams in this league. 3 teams that are involved, also, just to remind people that do not remember me saying that. Spartans are flying high. Top of the league, 65 points on the board. Also, the 2 B teams are second and third, Rangers and Celtic. Stirling and Tranent are flying high as well in this title race. I mean, to be honest with you, there's not much in the league, to be honest. Spartans could lose, say, 2 games. Tranent win 2, and they're back up to, say, maybe third or second place. That's how tight it is at the moment, but Spartans have certainly got something to hold on to. They are top of the league on merit and on, also, games played. So there's nobody that can touch them at the moment. Even the B teams are obviously away from that moment. Rangers were flying away by about 3 games in hand at one point. They've dropped off a wee bit as well. But again, we'll just sum it up quickly. More things happen in the Highland League, actually. But do you think Spartans will hold on, or do you think there's another twist to this tale?
There's more than one twist, I think, yeah.
Yeah, there's been plenty over the season. There's been a couple of teams that have not done as well as you maybe thought. I mean, East Kilbrae's a bit of a letdown. I think they're building something for next season, the way it looks. You've got Open Goal that's also maybe had a bit of a disappointing, new year, you would like to say.
Yeah.
I think Simon Ferry's probably not exactly that chuffed with some results that's happened after they're quite, I wouldn't say flying start, but they had really good results at the start of this season.
Yeah.
People would have thought, these guys are quite good. They've got a team going, and I think they've just, again, it's kind of got to the stage where they're not really clicking now. And I think injuries as well to certain individuals, it's probably not helped along the way.
The thing is,
sorry, Andrew, there you go.
I was just going to say, I think that he's obviously building. He'll build for his building for next year as well. It's his first season in management. They've just, as I've always repeated, it they've taken over the club. Boom Hill, even though they've come in and the contacts that Ferry would have and a wee bit of extra money, I think that they've always had that league's that tight and that competitive that they need to build on it. So I think he'll be building for next season. The push for promotion next year, and we'll see how that goes as well. So. That's all I was going to say about Broom
Hill. It's pretty much, it's pretty mental when you think about how many games these top 5 teams have lost. And that again, there's just genuinely nothing in it at all. And like, there's been slip ups for all the clubs. You can't call it, but
You can't because it's too tight.
I will.
You will, of course you would,
I think Spartans are going to do it. I think they will only just. But do I think Spartans are good enough to take on Bucky or Brecon? I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, it's crazy tight. But yeah, like again, it's pretty much like the Highland League as well, though. But where you've got teams there like Broomhill, even Civil Service as well, East Kilbride, where they've kind of fell away a wee bit, and other teams have just built, and the league's only going to get significantly tougher. But and again, comparing it to the Highland League as well, for the best of all benefits to Dalbeattie Star and probably Edinburgh Uni as well, it's probably best for them to take a league down, and because they are seriously toiling in this league.
Dalbeattie could be a big team in the east of Scotland, to be honest. Well, this is the thing. I would rather them be in the east.
I know you would rather than the east, but that's where they're going. It's already been agreed that they're going to the south.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's I don't know.
So that's the thing. Is same with Gretna. If Gretna were the team to go down, that's already been pre-agreed that these teams are going into the south of Scotland. So
I can agree with Gretna, but Dalbeattie's a bit of a weird one, eh?
No, Dalbeattie, south of Scotland makes sense, surely. Although, in fairness to Cammy, what I would say is that you've already got Caledonian Braves reserves, who from Lanarkshire play in the south of Scotland, and you've also got this Glasgow amateur club that have applied for membership in the south of Scotland. So there's not a lot of craziness in what Cammy's saying, to be fair.
It's not crazy, absolutely not. It's not crazy at all. But they should. I don't understand. I don't understand why the Cali Braves aren't playing in the east of Scotland, or the west of Scotland, I should say.
Yeah.
West of Scotland, especially, aye. I mean,
the west of Scotland. It probably would be the west of Scotland because it's Motherwell.
Is it the team you're talking about? Is it that Wellington FC?
Aye, that's the one.
Aye, it's a bit of a strange move, but again, are they hoping for something that we don't know? Because if they do go to the south of Scotland, they're in the top league already.
Yeah,
exactly. Oh, that's what it's about.
That's what they're hoping for. They're hoping if they can get a good run at that, they can skip like 3 divisions and get into that playoff and stuff. But again, it's going to be even if you get into that playoff, you're coming up against 2 of the best tier 6 teams in the country. So it's going to be difficult regardless. But Dalbeattie would be the south, Gretna would be the south. Again, the argument about the south of Scotland's probably for a different podcast as well. But
I think it needs its own pod.
It does.
We could debate it all day now and have a wee snippet there and there, but I don't know. We'll leave it to the
there's no my feelings on it.
Well, I've got the same feelings as you though, Kieran. I do, because it's a case of like we're trying to go with the times here, right? How many people are going to these games and that? I mean, even the Lowland League, without open goal being open goal, how many fans were going to Broomhill? Like, let's be honest here.
Because
it's the same. Yeah, but even still, what people were saying when they're playing at the other ground, when they're playing at their home ground at the time they were using, and it's the same idea. The likes of Caledonian Braves, are they going to attract many people? No.
Could you argue that the Midlands League should be part of a Highland League? If you get me, should they merge with a North of Scotland League?
So,
or is that too much? Or even East of Scotland?
This is we could go. This has got separate podcasts.
That's what of course it has. The only thing
we're then looking into different structures and things like that.
Just a yes or no. Just before we do move on a separate.
No, I'd say I need to discuss it.
Just yes or no.
No, I need to look into it.
Go and start this again. The Midlands League.
Should the because we're obviously talking about the South of Scotland League merging with the West, sorry. Should the Midlands League merge with the East, or should it merge with a North of Scotland League?
But what teams are you talking about here?
So Midlands League, you've got there's
Dundee.
17 teams in that league, and about half of them are from Dundee, and then the rest
What,
of
you
them are
talking
in.
about Tayport and all that?
Aye.
Yeah,
Well, they
Tayport.
used to
That's
be in
where
the junior. They used to be in
that's
the
where
junior
Banks
Super
D
League.
came from as well.
Yeah, they used to be in the junior Super League. So it didn't matter if you were from Dundee and Glasgow side, you were merged into a Super League almost.
So what they need to do, this comes into the instruction and everything like that, because you're probably looking at. I would argue that most of them should be the West. If you take the South of Scotland, you can argue that Upper Annandale are a Moffat, and they could probably be they'd be as well coming at the East as well, because they're not that far from me. If
It's
you
the
understand.
same thing about Gala too. It's only was talking about that with Gala the other day. It's a good journey down, but it's not exactly that far kicking arse off Edinburgh, is it? Let's be honest.
An hour.
An hour.
An hour. Well, it takes about flipping 45 minutes to get to Perth.
It's an hour for you. Well, it took me an hour when I went there in the car.
Greenfield and that play obviously in East Scotland Premier, so it's like, we'll leave it for another pod. We'll leave it there. But Kieran, we'll discuss it more. We'll find out, write it down somewhere so you remember, and we'll come back to this. Again, we spoke about obviously Lowland League being open as much as it can be ever, because also the introduction of LC Hearts coming in for 19 teams. Again, Spartans flying high. Are they going to do it for me? I don't think so. I think it'll be a B team that'll win it.
Who gets the playoff spot then?
No, I know, but I'm just saying who's going to win the league.
Yeah, okay.
Don't know who's going to get the playoff yet.
Which B team?
Rangers.
Okay, and who's getting
Rangers? Really?
Who's getting the playoff spot?
I think the playoff spot. I think Stirling Uni might fucking nick it here. I've just got this weird feeling there. Honestly, some of the results I've had for the last couple of months have been unbelievable. One thing I will say, me and Andy discussed this, are they going to keep all their players up here when exam time comes?
I think they probably will do. I think
if they're sitting this high this time, I think that they're going to say, no bother, I'll stay up here.
Yeah.
The problem that they've had in the past is also exam season comes in, they go away back to home, whether it's abroad, down south, up north, whatever it is, and they don't play for the team due to exams. So let's see what happens. But I generally feel if they can keep the team together, they'll do well. What do you think, Mr. Dixon?
Yeah, I think that Spartans will win the league.
You think they're going to win it right out?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Spartans will win the league.
You thought Spartans as well, do you?
Me or him?
Kieran.
What? Sorry, no, sorry, I thought you were talking to Andy. I think Spartans as well. So that's actually 2 out of 2 for me and Andy tonight. So we both said Spartans and Bucky. So
I can't use both your specs, but Christ, let's
the
resemblance here.
We've just gotten even closer since we shared our experience in Blackburn.
I watched you get kicked in for 3 wee laddies. Hi.
Oh, I bet you. So with that is the end of this podcast. It went on just a wee bit too long, so we'll split this into 2 parts. That was part 1 of the podcast. As we said, we talked about Dundee United, and in the bigger news as well, we've just released this podcast, and Jim Goodwin has been announced as the new Dundee United manager. Let's hope he can get off to a better start on his tremendous failure up in Aberdeen. So let's see if Dundee United can climb off the bottom end of the table to survive another season in the Premiership. Also, big thanks out to the one and only Starna. We have also made a partnership with Starna, and this is the one. So Starna is an independent fashion brand from Scotland with a huge soul. They create high quality and stylish attire for on and off the terraces. Inspired by the terrace culture and music lifestyle, all their clothing is designed by using quality materials and workmanship to combine the best possible style and fit. All this means you get the premium quality for affordable prices. And basically, if you want to get your hands on any of their stuff, you go on www.starnutapparel.co.uk. and you can get all of their stuff from hats to t-shirts to jackets and much more to come out very shortly. So if you ever want to get yourself a new bit of clobber, get yourself along to Starna. But even better, you get 10% off as well from our promo code, Park the Bus Pod. and you can get yourself 10% off for anything on their website. So Part of the Bus Pod is the code you need, and basically this is going to be a buy from just myself. But if you want to watch anything on our back catalogue, get us on YouTube, get us on Spotify, Castbox, and the rest. You get the podcast, the audio, and also everything else. And then YouTube, you get the video and all the other stuff in between from our vlogs. So check out the latest vlog we done. Obviously, it is Hearts versus Women. Hearts Women versus Hibs Women, and basically it is honestly a great vlog. Well done to Andy. He took the kids along. He done a good job. So give it a share and a like and a listen, and just keep doing what we're doing, guys. It's much appreciated. So thank you very much.